5 games that I would like to see on the Sega Genesis Mini. Starting off, Evander Holyfield's Real Deal Boxing. First boxing game I ever played on a console and maybe just video games in general. It's a real cool game, even when I didn't even know how to play it really, and when I didn't even know how to hit the button combination to get up, because I was, that young. It still looked like a cool game. I never had it. I rented it and I, played it, but I did end up having it on the Game Gear years down the line, just to have it, because it was fun. I remember it from the Genesis days, and I think that was a cool, fun boxing game. Only heard good things about it, and it was definitely something for that time period, that culture. It was big names. Holyfield and Mike Tyson were the biggest names, and heavyweight boxing and what have you. So I would like to see that game, Real Deal Boxing, to be on that Sega Genesis Mini. Also want to see the Terminator games, Terminator 2, that home version, shooter, side scroller, shooter, platformy thing. I had that when I first got my Genesis around age 7 or so. It was a little more complicated as it progressed, and I enjoyed it for what it was, but I didn't play as often, because some parts were kind of hard. It was, cause you had to, you would start off and you had to go drive somewhere. It's almost like a Grand Theft Auto kind of thing, and that's when eventually when I tried out the first couple Grand Theft Autos on PlayStation, I said, hey, this reminds me of that Terminator 2 game back on Genesis, when it had some driving aspects to it. But yeah, that was a fun game for what it was, that home version. And I also want to see the Terminator 2 arcade one, which was my favorite, especially at that time, that I eventually got. Guys, I played that in the arcade in the early 90s. That was fun, and I couldn't wait for that to come out. And it's the reason why I got the Mini Acer for that game. I think I ended up beating that game because I was playing in the arcade anyway. It's pretty much a shooting game, so I think I definitely beat that around age maybe 7 or 8. I practiced beforehand in the arcade, taking my quarters, and in the arcade you had the machine gun and had to get a little step stool to step up, because I was like 6, 7 years old or something. Excuse me. So I need a step stool to be able to grab that gun and shoot at the screen of the arcade. So I was kind of familiar with something that basic like that. So once it came to the Genesis, I definitely think I ended up beating that game. So that's 3 down. Coming in at number 4, I would like to see NBA Jam. I really would like to see that. Probably the first actual sports video game I ever played, arcade, console. Because the only one I may have played beforehand was some kind of car racer game, and if you want to call car racer sports, so be it, on the Game Boy. But NBA Jam, first video game basketball ever played. It was a lot of fun. You had to catch phrases like, oh my, he's on fire, boom, shakalaka. It was so part of the culture and that swag from that period of that early 90s that just encompasses that, and it was a lot of fun. I don't know how the licensing is going to work for that, if they'll be able to do that. But hey, I would like to see NBA Jam on the Sega Genesis Mini. And also on Sega Genesis Mini, I would like to see Mortal Kombat 2. Favorite Mortal Kombat game of the first 3, if you will. I feel that it enhanced everything with Mortal Kombat, even though the first one was a classic, Mortal Monday, but I felt that the gameplay was a little bit faster. You had more finishing moves. I even enjoyed. It looked like some graphics enhancement. So, it was a lot of fun. Honestly, I still preferred the arcade versions at that time because the arcade versions looked better. Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2. And that's where I first played it at before I even could have it at a home console. So, yeah, I could always tell it seemed a little bit, downgraded, but it was fun. You could tell some of the missing features in terms of like the BIOS and the way it looked, but it was still fun. The thing about Mortal Kombat 2, when it first came out, it was that speed that they had. It was like doing combos, but you really wasn't doing combos. It wasn't official combos. I don't think you got official combos until Mortal Kombat 3. Even I think they slowed down the arcade after a while, but I guess around that time when it first came out, it was a lot of fun, and you learned moves where you watch somebody that was older do a little something to try to learn a few moves, and I was able to figure out Liu Kang's fatality with the dragon by just spinning that joystick. I think it was either clockwise or counterclockwise, and that's just how you had to learn, because you play older kids, people in their 20s, grown, so you just wait your turn at the arcade back in the day, and until you got ready for the game, you stand back, and people always stand back around it, and just learn some moves from people and see what they do, see what buttons they press. And you know how it was. People say, I ain't gonna try to take your quarter, so you ain't trying to lose your quarter. But I was able to get some wins. I think I had a run one time at the arcade, probably about 8 years old or something. Had to get a little run, where I was able to beat some people in a row, make people use up their quarters. I think I was able to get them pinned in some corners and stuff, and I knew I was able to reflex pretty quickly back then. And I was able to figure out some of the combos with Liu Kang. So, yeah, Scorpion was my favorite at home, but in the arcade, I like Liu Kang because I could figure out how to do, the fatality. Not consistently, but at a pretty decent clip, I could figure out how to do the fatality. I could figure out the fires and little kicks and what have you, bicycle kicks. So, yeah, that was my guy at the arcade. But at home, I was still partial to Scorpion since the first one. So, yeah, I would definitely like to see Mortal Kombat 2. I could take Mortal Kombat 1. But, yeah, that's definitely what I want to see on the Sega Genesis Mini. So, those are the 5 games I would like to see on the Sega Genesis Mini. That's my take. Iceberg Jim out. Deuces.